So we are here with Nina and Mario from Sailing SeaTramp, and they have a sailing YouTube channel too. So if you haven't looked yet, please go there and click on the subscribe button.
Nice to see you guys again.
Thank you.
We met on the BVI's first time.
Yeah, it was BVI's.
BVI's Antigua, wasn't it? Something like that.
BVI's.
No,
it was
but
BVI's.
BVI's, yes, was BVI's.
In March.
Yeah.
So you had a little incident, didn't you, a few months ago? And just start. When was the incident?
So that was basically right when we arrived here in Panama. We left Cayman at the beginning of July, arrived here on the 7th, so it was like 3 days later.
Or 13th.
So you came down from Cayman Islands?
We came down from Cayman, checked in Portobello and Linton to do all the clearance and paperwork. Then we stood there another 1 or 2 days, left towards Linton, and were basically on our way here, so to San Blas. That was our destination. And
what actually happened on that day? So you left Linton Bay Marina.
That's right.
And you were heading for San Blas.
That's right.
And you had a little bit of a problem.
Well, we left and picked up, the wind picked up a bit, so we intended to sail, put up the sails, and when I tried to switch off the engine, it simply didn't switch off. So, well, I was a little bit disturbed. So what's wrong with it? And then I thought, well, maybe it's not a good idea to continue to San Blas without knowing what it is, because I knew here there's basically no infrastructure, no nothing.
No, there's nothing here.
So probably it would be better, if necessary, to turn around right away and go to Linton.
Yeah.
But before that, then I thought, okay, let's first have a look. Maybe I can solve it out. It's something simple. So we said, okay, take down the sails again. Let's shortly anchor here where we are, and let me have a look.
And what was the name of the bay you were in?
That was, so we were close to Nombre del Dios, which is about 5-6 miles east of Linton Bay.
Linton Bay, yeah. So you managed to kill the engine?
Yes, indeed. So I did it manually by shutting off the fuel, and figure out basically it was the switch which corroded away.
Yeah.
And it took me
So you decided
a
to
little
stay
while.
there for the night?
Exactly. The point was simply until I figured it out. It was in the afternoon by 3 o'clock or something, and everybody discouraged us from going here, arriving at night, especially if you don't know the area.
Well, because actually it's very dangerous sailing around here because there's so many
because
reefs,
of the reefs,
they're not marked. And, you wouldn't want to turn up here at night.
Right, not marked, and also the charts are aged.
Yes.
Very odd.
So we said, okay, well, let's stay here for the night. It was more or less across the bay was the police station, and we were the only boat, that's right, but we thought...
And is there a little town there?
Nombre del Dios is also the name of the town which is there, so small village, which was also at side, maybe half a mile away or 5 cables away, so it was not that far away. And we considered it to be fine. I mean, we just arrived, we didn't see other boats like checking us out or driving around and seeing who's on the boat or whatever. So we thought, anyway, when we go to bed, just precaution, we'll lock ourselves and when we're down. So, that was our preparation. Then let's start next day very early in the morning, so we are here around noon, and then it will be fine.
Now I understand you just had dinner and you were washing up.
That's right. So basically we were in that mood that we just finished our meal, and Nina heard some noise like a dying engine, like from going from high speed to low speed, something like that. And she pointed me, okay, there's a boat coming. Probably not good, so I walked up the steps out of the galley and basically prepared to just close the doors and have a short quick view around. And in this very moment, so I was still on the steps, like going 3 steps up, when 2 guys jumped at me from left and right, and they were basically hiding behind the spray hood. So we've got the windows in the front, and on the left and right there's
And at
cover.
this point, did you realize what was happening?
No,
I'm not yet.
No.
Not yet, yeah.
No. Even when he started yelling that I locked myself in my cabin, I was like, what's this problem? I was sitting there with my phone, and when I realized what he said, I dropped my phone and ran to the cabin and why didn't I take my phone with me and call the police? Yeah, but
Yeah, it
you don't
wasn't
think
clear.
in that moment.
Yeah.
No.
You just react. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so these two guys grabbed you up on the deck.
Yeah, so basically they pushed me back down the stairs, and in this moment already boat, so those guys apparently were already on the boat before, and the engine or the boat which approached landed in this very moment when they jumped at me,
Yeah.
and more guys came on board, and one of them had a gun and directly pointing with the gun at me and running at me, and they were pushing me down, and I was like more or less not falling but going backwards down the galley, and that's when the drama began.
So how many guys actually came on the boat?
So we counted 6,
Yeah.
and maybe there was somebody else waiting in
Yeah.
the boat.
Guarding outside.
And-
I don't know that, but we saw 6 in the
I know.
boat.
I know this isn't Pirates of the Caribbean, but kind of did they look like pirates?
No, not
Or were
really.
they just sort of dressed like normal people? You know, could you distinguish anything about them?
Well, we didn't
That's a
see
good
much
question.
about them, so
Yeah.
they were dressed jeans or short jeans basically, and most of them had their shirts around their head.
Yeah.
One or two had actually shirts on, and still another shirt around
Yeah.
their head, so just to camouflage their faces.
Oh, they
Okay.
were worried about camouflaging.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
They were very
okay.
keen on that, so that also while pushing us down or keeping us under control, they were very keen on that we do not look at them but look at the floor, and so holding us down,
Oh, okay.
despite the fact that they were all the time masked. One guy dropped, or the shirt slipped once, but in that moment I could not, I mean, it was darkish, so we
Yeah.
had one bulb on, and it was 7 something in the evening, so it was already pretty dark.
Dark. Yeah. Yeah. And so they got you downstairs, and by this time you'd escaped basically, or
Yeah.
you'd hidden in the front cabin, one of the
Yeah.
front cabins. So how did you kind of feel when you heard all this clatter and everything going on? I mean, were you how
Well-
worried were you?
The thing is, you have like when you plan the sailing trips, you have like, okay, if something happened, you will lock yourself. But it's a wooden door. Like they tried to kick. I think they kicked like 2 times against the door. You could
This is-
already see it will not hold, and then
No.
they were already saying, or Mario was saying, because they speak Spanish and I don't speak Spanish, that they are holding a gun to his head and that they want that I open the door. So whatever I learned, don't open the door. But what are you doing? Like, he has a
He
gun in his head, and I
exactly.
know they will try it like 2 or 3 times more, and the door will break anyway.
Yeah.
So
So you just
try to
basically-
cooperate, go out.
Yeah.
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 And what did they actually want?
They were asking for money, drugs, and weapons.
Yeah.
So that's what they were constantly repeating: armas, drogas, monetas.
Mm-hmm.
And but in the end, they took anything,
Did
what
they?
they could get hold of. Anything that looked at needs a cable. So it's IT, camera gear, the drone. They took anything which
Satellite
seemed
phones.
of value for them.
And did they know what they were taking, or were they just picking?
I
something
don't
up?
think so. I
They
don't
did.
think
They didn't
so.
sort of kind of understand that was a sat phone.
No,
No.
I don't think
Because
so.
they took the perp too, didn't they?
Yes,
Yeah.
they also took the e-perp, also like remote controls, like cheap remote control for the radio.
Yeah.
So they
They,
were just
it looked like technical stuff,
Yeah.
and they grabbed it, and
Yeah, and stupidly, more or less all technical stuff were on the batteries loading
Yeah.
on the charger.
Yeah.
So and they didn't take the charger with them, so they just took the stuff.
uh-huh.
Like, so I don't think that they really know what they got there.
And you lost your laptops and your mobile phones, so you
Yeah.
didn't have any communication.
nothing.
And
No.
footage for the videos.
Yeah,
That was
a lot of backups.
Yeah.
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 So we were actually hiding small hard disks where we had footage on, and also personal documents and whatever.
Yeah.
So in case of
course, yeah.
I don't know, I mean, hardware failure could also occur without any incident, doesn't need to be
Yeah.
anything else. So we had backups hidden under the cushions or on different places on the boat. But they took their time, so after they were more or less,
Because they stayed a long time on the boat, didn't they?
it was something between 3/4 of an hour and an hour, something between.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how was your kind of fear levels at the time? I mean, did you honestly think you were going to survive this, or did you think that maybe the time was up?
It was changing. So basically, once we understood that there were robbers who were keen on money, more or less, I felt a little bit better in terms of confident. Okay, if they get what they want, they will leave and it will be fine. But in between, the situation got a bit fuzzy, as at least two of the guys, maybe all of them, I don't know, but two of them were acting ridiculously crazy. They were jumping on the table, over the table, so they were definitely drugged, highly drugged. And what about the others? So the others, well, were more or less conscious, I would say.
Yeah.
And however, when those two guys more or less took control of the weapon, and then it got a little bit not really under control anymore.
No.
But as long as I would call him the boss or the leader, so he most of the time was giving instructions to the guys where they should look and pointing the gun at us and fixing, how do you call it in English, when make you immobile and keep you in one place, how would you call it? It's not fixing, they did not fix us, but
They had you pinned down somewhere.
pinned down, that's it.
Yeah.
So while he was doing this, the situation was calm.
Quite okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then at some point they decided that they had enough and they left.
At some point, they figured out there's nothing else to take.
Nothing, yeah.
So they were
Because they looked everywhere.
everything. They were opening every cupboard. They were even opening the fridge and taking everything out of the fridge. They were
Milk and
looking.
eggs on the floor.
Our boat was covered like this high with our
Everything.
belongings. So on the floor there were groceries. On top of the groceries there were our clothes. They were taking out even blankets out of the cupboards and opening them to look if there's something inside hidden.
Wow.
And in the end,
So basically, they found every hiding place on the
yes,
boat.
Yeah.
yes,
So kind of probably they've done this before.
Yes,
yes.
I would say so.
Yes.
What would you do different now, or what advice would you give to people who are going to sail these waters?
Mhm.
Because this is a fantastic cruising ground,
Yeah.
and it isn't really to be missed, and you mustn't be put off, because these are incidents that happen, and people have died, but it is also not a significant number, I don't think, that means that you don't go here.
Mm.
I mean, you've been here for how many weeks since this happened,
Right.
and you feel
Yeah.
quite comfortable
Yeah.
here.
Here, San Blas is definitely
Yeah.
different.
But what advice would you give to people, or what do you do now that's different to what you did before
Mm.
to protect your
We don't anchor alone anymore.
Yes, so that's
Yeah.
at least one point. So have a good look at your neighbors. Maybe talk to them. Make things aware. Okay, now you're here. Okay, just make friends in terms of make yourself aware, make them aware, or maybe also of the situation. They're basically, I would say, passive measures which we take. So we still do not have a gun on board. I
No.
mean, this discussion was a little bit going on and
Yeah.
off also in the social media, whether
Yeah.
we should arm ourselves.
Yeah.
It's not the way
It's
to do it.
difficult.
No.
It's difficult. Apart from the legal aspect,
Yeah.
it's also something. I mean, I think this is not something to discuss at this moment. So we
No.
decided not to have one.
Yeah.
But all those passive measures are definitely a good idea. So now travel during dark.
Yeah.
That's where it would all start. Carefully pick where we are anchoring, having a look at our neighbors, as said, like Nina, but, making them a bit aware. But also, locking stuff. And I mean, we had yesterday this conversation about maybe some further protection mechanisms, like electrifying or whatever, having fences around us. We do not have it yet, but I think it's an option. It's an idea.
Yeah. Because you've really got to stop them getting on the boat, haven't you? Once they're on the boat, that's it.
That's
That's
it.
right.
Yeah. Once
Is
on
it?
the boat, the boat is there. It's their boat. It's not our
Yeah.
boat anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even as Mario said in the beginning, the two men already swam on board and they
Yeah.
were hiding behind the spray. We didn't hear it. So it was bumpy in the bay, that it was normal to hear some water noises. So they were already on the boat. You can't do anything then.
No.
No.
It's not important if they're 2, 4, 6 or 8. As
Yeah.
soon as there's somebody
Yeah.
on the boat
Yeah.
who not belongs to the boat.
And, and did they do a lot of physical damage to the boat?
No, basically no. They started like punching with a knife in the wood, but those were those two guys who were drugged and
Right,
not really
yeah.
under control, but no, they were selective in what they did.
And your kind of like your main navigation equipment, your plotter and your instruments, did they take those?
No, that
No.
was still in. That was still in. Only which was mobile.
Yeah.
So they had a look also at the dinghy, which they want to take off, which was locked, and
The engine.
The engine, sorry,
Yeah.
which was locked on the stern. And well, they did with the keys to open it, but apparently, I think it turned out that the engine was too small for them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not of interest, and then they gave up. But
Yeah.
that was.
Thank you very much for sharing
Yeah.
your experience.
Thank
you
you
don't
very
seem
much.
to have come off any worse.
I hope so. Yeah.
Are you over it?
Well, it depends. So yes and no. Sometimes there are situations in the night on anchor where you still, or where you again feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But during day, everything is okay.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, I hope you enjoyed the interview with Mario and Nina. This week it's a different episode, we brought it to you because we thought this would be very helpful for everyone to know and for all the cruisers to know exactly what happened.
Yeah, and it is a genuine threat. I mean, it did happen to them, and it has happened to other people over the last 6 or 9 months in the sort of Panama area of the Caribbean. So, I think they were really, in a way, lucky that they didn't get harmed.
Yeah, they were very lucky.
Yeah.
It was just material stuff and you can always replace that.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, they were quite lucky because they stayed a long time on the boat. Something else could have happened.
Yeah, these things can get out of control,
Yeah,
and things get very nasty.
yes. So at the end, I think they were.
They're emotionally scarred, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
Yes, they
but
are.
they're not giving up. They're not selling the boat,
No.
and they haven't quite decided whether they're going to go through the canal or go back to Europe. And they're going to keep sailing, which is
Yes,
fantastic.
Which is fantastic. After
Yeah.
that experience, traumatic
Yeah.
experience, it's really, really good to know that they're going to keep going and they didn't let these people spoil their dream.
No. Okay, thank you very much. Normal service will be resumed next week.
Yes, thank you very much for watching. If you can leave your comment below, it would be great. And if you can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and support us on Patreon. And also, don't forget to click on the subscribe
Right
button.
button. Thank
On
you.
ours and on Sailing SeaTramp.
Sailing SeaTramp, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.